This screencast is part 4 of a video series called Building the Nominal Test Case using Zuzena. In this video, we will focus upon test scripts to the test case we've been building. These test scripts will call the actual data transforms we're trying to validate with our test case. At the end of the presentation, we will display links connecting you to the other videos in the series. Remember that in this video series, we're building a nominal test. The nominal test case proves that all your data warehouse transforms work as expected when given data that's coherent and properly formatted. At a future date, we'll post some other videos illustrating the smaller test cases you'll need in order to demonstrate how your ETL responds when it contains defects such as missing reference records or improper values. In the previous videos of this series, we provided an overview and illustrated the first steps in creating a Zuzena test case. We introduced the capabilities of the Zuzena test engine and listed the goals of the test case we're building. We also demonstrated how to create the blank test case container, label it with metadata tags, and add data staging steps. Finally, we showed how to run that test case individually and as part of a test suite. You probably noticed, however, that the test case at the end of video 3 only staged data, did not call any data transforms. In this video, we'll add calls to ETL action steps so that source data is transformed and loaded into the target tables. Let's start at Zuzena's main menu. Click on Test Cases to bring up a browsing screen of the tests that you have already defined. Enter a string in the search bar and then click on Search to filter the test cases to just those you are interested in working with at this time. This is our nominal test case here. Click on its short name code to open up an editing screen. This test case is essentially as we left it at the end of the prior video. You can see that it still has its 4 metadata tags that let us include it in any number of test suites. You can also see the 6 staging routines that will pull data out of a source repository and place them in the data warehouse's staging area, so that the ETL we're planning to test will have the right context when it gets called. Here's the section where the test scripts will be found. This test case will need 2 ETL calls. The first is a simple setup step that clears out the results from any prior test runs from the target fact table. The second will invoke the ETL we want to test. The examples we're going to show you will demonstrate making calls to both a database and an ETL engine. The script to clear the target fact table will be a SQL statement. The action that calls the data transforms to reload that fact table will be a call to a shell script that in turn invokes an ETL engine. We've already added the first script that clears the tables. Click on the pencil icon to its right to open its editing window. You can see here that we've set this script to be a call to the SQL engine. Here's the SQL it will execute, a simple delete command. This script also includes a SQL command for verifying that the script has succeeded. It performs a count of the records in the target table after the select command finishes and compares that count to an expected value of 0. If the count that the database returns matches this value, Zuzena will consider this action step's completion a success. Let's close this editing window and start building a second action step, one that makes an operating system call to an ETL engine. Click on the green plus sign to the left of Add another TSR test case script. This creates a line in the script section. If the action step you want to place here already exists, you can add it by using the pull-down menu of the scripts created earlier for other test cases. The script for our nominal ETL call does not exist, so we're going to start creating a new action step by clicking on the green arrow to the right of that pull-down menu. This opens the editing window for the new action step. Give the script a code and a description. Set the connection type to a secure shell call or SSH. Enter the connect string that your Zuzena administrator should have already created for connecting to your ETL server. Now enter the operating system command that will invoke the ETL engine. The syntax you place in this field will be specific to your ETL engine and the way that your team has chosen to invoke it. Many data warehousing teams use a wrapper shell script to call their ETL engines, and we have done that here. Now we have to tell the test case how it can learn whether the ETL call was successful. Set the completion connection type to exit code. Now add the exit code Zuzena should look for in the field called completion expected result. You probably noticed there are some additional fields between the completion connection type and the completion expected result. That's because this is a simple case where Zuzena can just wait and the ETL call will return a value when it's done. Other situations are more complex, requiring Zuzena to execute an additional procedure just to learn whether the first call was a success. In such a case, you would use these additional fields. Click on Save to write the new configuration values to the test case. The new script call is almost ready to execute, but we need to give it a run order so that it occurs after the data staging steps and the call to clear the target table. Enter an appropriate value to the right of the description field. We already have 6 prior steps in this test case, so give this script a run order value of 7. Now hit Save on the test case window, and we're ready to see if the 2 test scripts we've added will run successfully. Now that we're back to the test case browsing window, check the box to the left of our test case, set the pull-down action menu to Run Immediate, and hit Go. Refresh the browser screen to see the outcome and the new date time in the last run column. To view the details of the test case run that just completed, click on the appropriate View link in the Run Results column. This brings up a listing of all the prior runs of the test case. The last run of our test case will be at the top of this list. Press on the log file name to open up a viewing window that will contain all the system console output that Zuzena saw during the execution of the test case. As we saw in the last video, this console output shows that the action steps for staging data occurred and were successful. Here you see Zuzena's call to the first test script, the SQL command that cleared out records written by previous test runs in the target fact table. Finally, here you see Zuzena's call to the shell script that invoked her ETL engine. Here's the exit code Zuzena was looking for. And here's the one that it received from the ETL server. So Zuzena considered this action step a success. This 4th video about building a nominal test case focused upon adding test scripts to the test case container. First, we used the graphical user interface to open the test case container and examine an existing test script that used SQL to clear from the target tables any records that might interfere with the ETL we want to call. Next, we added a test script that used an operating system command to call a shell script that invoked the team's ETL engine. That ETL action transformed the information that the data prep steps had staged and loaded the new records into the target fact table. Finally, we opened the console output that Zuzena captured to examine the execution details of our test scripts. There are several remaining videos in this series. The next video will explain how to add evaluations of the transformed data to determine whether the logic in your ETL modules is performing as desired. Use the links on this page to open other videos in this series. Be sure to contact us with questions concerning test automation for data warehousing, business intelligence, and big data application development. Thanks for watching this screencast, and good luck with your projects.